All right, now we're going. It's the 24th of February. I am Topher. This is the Topher Spin Meteorites Hangout, and we are discussing not only meteorites, but anything and everything related that we like. And we like space travel and space exploration and everything that's going on with Mars and Perseverance right now. So we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be showing some meteorites close up. I have some really nice samples to show, and we have some videos from overseas. So I'll remind everyone in the group, if you want to show something, by all means, you are allowed to. Just raise your hand and let me know, and we'll get you squared up. Anyone want to go first, or should I? I'm going first. This is an ungrouped achondrite. I literally just got it in the mail like 2 hours ago. So this is an ungrouped achondrite, and what's really nice about it is it's a Greg Hoope piece. So it comes with the, and that's really classy. I like pre-printed weights on COAs. Can't do that on a lot of pieces, but look at this.
Nice.
Wow, that's a beauty. That the crystal
10 grams
is, oh wow, it's a chunky one.
Yeah,
that crystal is beautiful.
Wow.
Wow, nice crest.
That's the exterior. Yeah, it's kind of when I was handling it earlier, it was falling apart a little bit, so I'm just want to be delicate and ginger with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if my phone will actually zoom in this week for us, guys. This will make or break it. Oh yeah, I think we're zooming.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice crystals. So this is an ungrouped achondrite, NWA 6704. We don't know the parent body. We know it's not Mars. We know it's not the moon. It's not a chondritic material. You do see a little bit of metal in there, a couple little flecks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely very differentiated. Nice big crystals of that separate out the contents.
Yeah, so this is I just got this today, and I'm super happy, but I don't know which way to put it in the case, and I don't really know how to. Oh yeah, I don't think I'll be touching it very much anymore.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really love the fact that it's an ex-Hoope piece. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he is the main mass holder for 6704. So, and I've gotten some comments asking us to kind of mention prices or values. I hate the word price.
Yeah.
So, because people see us enjoying these meteorites and they don't have any idea if they can afford to play or not, or if it's totally out of their means. There are a lot of cheap meteorites, very, very affordable meteorites out there. This is not one of them. This is like $700, something like that, $750, something like that. Because it's an ungrouped achondrite. It's a famous one. It has good provenance. So you're looking at like $70 a gram, something like that. So that's just a little ballpark idea of what we're looking at. I have another one that I want to show off, and this is cool because I love gifts. Gifts. You can, anyone who has extra meteorites laying around, by all means.
Well, certainly.
So this, of course, is our buddy Matt Stream of Streaming Meteorites. I mean, a heck of a great guy, and he does a very, very, very good job selling meteorites on eBay. So make sure you you look for him on eBay. I'll post his seller ID in the comments below. But he
Good.
gave this to me as a little gift, a Dronino individual.
Oh,
And it's nice because not necessarily do I need Dronino, but I love the fact that it's a gift and I have a case just for gifts.
yep.
So,
Sweet.
and
Sweet.
it is really, really nice. There's no rust, oxidation, like it's been treated and sandblasted.
Oh, that's a very pretty individual.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Matt. That's really appreciated. This is an iron from Russia. And there's a lot of this material. This is a cheaper meteorite. So if you want to ballpark this one, you know, obviously it's very hard to put a ballpark price on all meteorites under one name, but like $1 a gram, $1.50 at the max for a really nice sculptural piece that's you know, on the larger size. So that's
And of course, there are many. Sorry, excuse me,
no.
Topher.
Everyone interrupt me whenever you want, please.
There are many, many much less expensive meteorites, unclassified meteorites from Northwest Africa. You know, are down even as low as 20 or 25 cents a gram. So the cost of meteorites is not a barrier to entry, and especially for young people. There are a lot of very interesting and very inexpensive meteorites out there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And anyone in here at any time, interrupt me and talk, because there's going to be dead air if I don't talk. So that's why I keep talking. not that I have the wisest things to say. But I was actually hoping, I'm going to call her out because I don't see her here. Sabrina, I'm calling you out. You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be you have today off or whatever. But Sabrina is a new collector, and she just got, I mean, she's a collector of many things. She has many very varied interests. And one of them happens to be meteorites, and she got hooked up with myself and a few other in the group, Oz as well. And she has been asking me for advice about what to buy, what not to buy, and also educating her as we go about her learning process. And I like doing that when I can. I'm obviously a very, very busy man, but when I can, I like giving that personal treatment. And so the newer people coming on, if you're trying to buy a meteorite, or you're interested in buying a meteorite, and the person that you're trying to buy it from isn't making time for you, you know, either they're extremely busy or they're just blowing you off. Find someone else, because there's a lot of people who love talking about meteorites and love selling meteorites. So if you have questions and they're not getting answered, then don't buy from that person, just like you wouldn't buy from a car from someone. If someone would do me a favor, we have Marissa with us, which is awesome. If someone could do me a favor and make sure that her chats get read, or if they need, I would love them read. If they're meant for the public, that's great, but it's just a little too much for me to focus on. Arthur.
Yeah, I've got the chat window open.
Okay.
Yeah, so Marissa said beautiful Dronino, and
Thank you.
said, you know, the budget is challenging, but amazing meteorites on a small income is definitely possible. So encouragement to the to the beginners.
Yeah, and Marissa knows because she has her struggles, and Sabrina has her struggles as well. Everyone has struggles. If money weren't an option, we'd be. So we all collect or hoard or deal to our varied abilities. So you can always get a small affordable piece of something. Like, you don't have to go massive, like these ones back there. You don't have to have a huge example. You can have a small example. And as you saw in that Dronino, we zoomed in and there's tons of details to be enjoyed.
Mm.
Talking about details to be enjoyed, I bet James Shelton has something for us to enjoy. Let me switch it over to him real quick. Hey, James.
Hi, give you an idea of prices. This is just a little over a kilogram. It's unclassified NWA. It's got beautiful contraction cracking.
Mhm.
And I found this bargain for 17 cents a gram.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Excellent.
So if you just keep prospecting on eBay, eventually something will turn up like this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And
Excellent.
yeah, and that's a kilo. So you're talking about you know, pretty good sized piece of space debris. You know, nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's an iron too. I forgot to say that's an iron.
what's that?
It's an iron.
Oh, I heard that's a big loud one. Hey, by the way, your basement's coming along really nicely. You look at home.
Thank you.
Hey, Arthur.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if I can spotlight you, man.
All right. How's my microphone? You hearing me all right?
Yep.
Good.
I don't know how to spotlight you though.
Okay.
Arthur, it looks like you'll need to start your video.
Yeah.
Your,
Definitely going to.
Okay.
there you go.
We're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. So now, there you go.
This look familiar?
Yes, it does.
It's not real. It's a cast.
All right,
But
you're
you
stealing
know,
my thunder.
I had to have it. It's the Middleborough's Chondrite L6. It's 1.6 kilograms, and it's a professional cast. I sent a link about Meteorite Recon talking about Stromboli stones, and they gave a brief description of how they make these casts and how they paint them to look authentic. So I knew I would never own the original of this cast, so I had to go for it.
Wow, that's
the fluting of the replica is remarkable. I mean, and the conical orientation of this is amazing as well. Now, it doesn't have what I would call a real hard rollover lip on the back. The back is kind of something that I don't have to worry. I won't be displaying it in that fashion. So, but this is from
beautiful, man.
MSG Meteorites. I know it's backwards.
No, it's good. Yeah, Martin
And
Goff,
then
great guy.
it was an original fall, so it was witnessed. And, you know, I hope to can find some more of these casts. They actually put a lead weight inside of it to match the actual weight of the specimen.
That's nice.
Yep.
Wow. So, that is beautiful.
I do enjoy it very much, although the real one would be very much enjoyable.
Wow, that is gorgeous, Art.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for sharing that, buddy. Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that right there is our buddy Marco's dream. He would sell his mother and sister for that.
I would expect Marcos to have that.
Yeah, there's a good amount of work that goes into making those replicas, those casts. We actually have a person in our group that was doing some of that in the past. Don't know if he's still currently doing it, but yeah, lots of work. But chance to own something like that. Hey, Mike, what you got for us, buddy?
How's it going? Hopefully this zooms in okay. We'll see. So I got a couple things today that I held off kind of showing last week because I did the talk. But I don't know if you could see this. Hopefully you can under the light. It's got that pit in it right there, down towards the bottom. Let me see if I can highlight it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely got more impression to it than just like a divot. It looks definitely like it was an impact. And this is a tiny little piece of SAW 005, so it's from the Franconia kind of area.
I hate you.
And I was kind of interested, and I don't think it's going to come out very well on video. But right along the edge, it also kind of has a little bit of what kind of looks like rollover.
I'm
so
agreeing with you.
I only got a couple of these, and I got to do a little more research on it. But I'm interested to know if there's others out there that are kind of oriented, or any of the other ones have that kind of pit feature to them. So I know like Cicotolines get that impacts on them, and you had mentioned that that chondrite you had that looked like it had a pit the other week. So I thought that'd be a cool piece to show off.
Someone snatched that up after the show.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking about how ultra rare that is, and like I had seller's remorse, to be honest with you, because but I don't. He loves it and he wants it, so it's his now.
Yeah.
But just the idea of that maintaining oriented flight getting impacted, and it just moved over. What I think you're seeing in that SAW example, and again, this is just 10,000 foot view through a monitor. The pitting, I don't think looks to be impact. It looks to be too hard of edged and too deep. However, I do agree with you saying that it shows orientation and rollover.
Cool. Yeah. And just speaking, you were talking to new collectors and stuff, and Pat had mentioned it. Search around for deals. I'm a mostly small guy because you go small, you can get a lot, and you can get a lot affordably. So I mean, everything kind of in this pile here, nothing there is over $100. And like I said, you got some rare stuff. Like I showed this last week, 2 weeks ago. This was that chunk of guanaco. So that's the 2G iron, and there's very few of these, less than 10 of them. And I wanted to re-show that, Topher, because you said, hey, track the weight on it. This was the piece that had the very curved face and the horribly sawn back.
Yeah, it was beveled.
So you could see now it's perfectly flat on the front, and it's also perfectly flat on the back. And that cost me 2 grams.
Ooh.
Which it was a painful out of an 8.3 gram piece.
Yeah.
But it's the way I want it now. It's not not ugly looking.
No, that's a tough choice, but you made it.
Yeah, you hit up on this one. I saw you posted about this online. This was another piece that I had shown previously, where it came also again with a very rough cut on it. So that was flattened and etched, and I was very happy to see that our mutual friend Daniel had said, hey, that's now classified material. Waiting for Metal to hit, but that's really cool, and I hope he does get his wish and gets to do more science on that, because it is a very interesting looking high metal winonite.
I'm glad you brought that out, because you stole my thunder. That's fine though.
You show some of the nicer ones. You
have the name printed up already. It's not even on the Met Bull.
I don't wait around. This is kind of a cool piece. Let's get this open here. See if I can.
Yeah, it's been approved by the NOMCOM, which is the Nomenclature Committee. So once it's approved by the NOMCOM, then it has to get published into the Met Bull, which is the Meteoritical Bulletin Database.
So this was, let's see if I can catch the chondrule in there. I don't know if I will or not. This was my carbonaceous happiness of the day. So this is Felix. So that is an American CO 3.3.
Oh
man,
nice.
So there's not a whole bunch of those, and you can kind of see it a little bit. There's one nice chondrule in there, sitting right there. That's a really nice size for COs, which are typically very, very small size chondrules. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to catch it, but when you get the light just right, you can see it's chock full of tiny, beautiful little chondrules.
And again, you said none of these were over $100.
No,
Okay.
you know, and again, you know, I searched around and found the good bargains. In fact, this cost me $20.
Damn.
Wow.
You stole it for $20.
Yeah, and it's almost, you know, it's 0.89, so
Yeah.
a little less than a gram.
Mm.
And then finally, this was one. So I type collect, and you know, this is a lunar, so this is really cool. So this is 4485. So it's down as lunar now, but in the old days, this is one of the high creep-rich breccias. So there's 15 pieces in the Met Bowl if you look up creep-rich meteorites from the moon. So this is one of the 15 lunars that's very high in potassium, rare earth elements, and so it's called creep-rich, and that kind of means that it comes from an area of the moon that's probably from a deep part of like the melt ocean. So when the moon was formed theoretically by a giant impact, you know, the olivine and pyroxene kind of like all settled out and formed the mantle. Then you had this magma ocean, and all the light anorthosite and everything else kind of solidified and floated to the top, and it left kind of this magma in there that was creep rich with all this stuff in it that you don't typically find in the lunars. So this is kind of like a deep part of that the moon that they have. So that's kind of a cool piece I've been waiting for to try to close out that subtype.
That is fantastic that you have that. And the information your knowledge bolide, that's the YouTube channel, by the way. The knowledge bolide that you just dropped on us was massive.
Absolutely.
I don't know about other people in this group, but I did not know that.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting area to research, just because I didn't know it, you know, as of a couple of months ago when I was trying to go through the lunars and figure out all the types and what the difference was on all of them. So I kept hearing creep and re-enrichment and other meteorites. That's what it is.
That is fantastic. And you know what's great about Mike is he sends me the most detailed write-up to help me with a summary afterwards. So I'm going to be able to include a description of what lunar creep is. Finally. Thank you, Mike. You're amazing. Love it.
Yeah. And then Topher, I don't know if you have the still or the video. That was the piece.
I do have the video. We're going to show it. We're going to show the video later.
Okay.
But let's look at the piece though.
Yeah, so this is a 22 gram slice. It's an L6. It's provisional. It's not classified yet. It's going under classification. And shout out to John Higgins for making this available to me. I definitely appreciate that.
Of outer space rocks.
Yep, but that little bleb right there, we'll see later in a short little video, hopefully, and then the still has some crazy crystals going on in there.
Yeah, I think Pat Brown's going to be interested in that.
Yeah, and you can kind of see how it catches the light when I move it.
Yep.
I mean, they really pop and are very obvious that there's something going on inside there.
The video you sent me, and then Pat, I'm sorry. The video you sent me, it was obviously microscopic, so I couldn't tell what I was looking at, and it looked like a cave full of crystals.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike and I have talked about that one, and that's a really interesting one, and really love to see some other professional opinions on what's going on there.
Yeah,
we got a good video of it later on. So
yeah, so that was most of the good stuff for today.
Fantastic, man. Well, I really appreciate that. I saw Chris. Yeah, Chris is in here. I saw him with his hand up, and he put it down. I'll give him a chance to raise his hand if he wants, because he might. He owns that very rare oriented 3D impact crater chondrite. So
I just mostly wanted to say that I almost feel guilty for buying those 3 stones from you.
Yeah. After the hangout, Chris and I will chat offline. And him and his wife has been to my house. We met at a rock show, and after the hangout, he got all 3 of those oriented ones from last week. So if you don't know the 3 we're talking about, look back. They were phenomenal. And I literally just opened them either that day or the day before, showed them to you guys, and then 3 hours later they're gone. But I have the pictures.
That's right.
Yeah. Mike, did you put, I put your hand down. I don't know if you put it up again. I'll tell you what, let me pause real quick and I'm gonna get the European videos in here. So hold on one second. All right. So we are checking in with our buddies overseas, Maxime and Marco. We are recording right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then both Pat and I are going to tag team our tour of the solar system this week. Due to a miscommunication, we both kind of half prepared, so we're both going to half pitch in and do it together. So if you would insert Pat Brown there from California as well. Then, oh, I actually forgot to update this. We have a new witnessed fall in Canada and a new witnessed fall in Sweden. And then a special offer for online live members only. So this is the big news. This is what is going on in the galaxy right now. Everyone in the galaxy is talking about it. We landed on Mars. Now I think last week we talked about doing it the next day, and then on the 18th we actually got together on a live feed, and that is now on the YouTube channel as well. But we weren't able to see this.
We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Indicate chute deploy.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance has now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Nav filter converge. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
OVS valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Priming. TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
Back shell set.
Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver. Sky crane maneuver has started, about 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO. Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that landing is actually quite a
We are starting this.
in that when they said that the landing solution had been calculated, the capsule as it's coming down is preloaded with photographs and radar data of the surface where they want to land. And so the first job is when the heat shield comes away and the radar and the optics can see the surface, is to figure out where they are on the map, on their internal maps. And so when they had that solution, then they knew exactly where they were going and knew how to execute the maneuvers to hit the spot they want to hit.
Thank you, Pat. In this picture here, hopefully, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but the circle, that's the landing spot.
Mhm.
In this close-up right here is the actual under parachute, the Mars 2020 delivery package under parachute. Just absolutely amazing that they've nailed it. This is the Delta. This is Jezero Crater, where they wanted to land. This is the inlet. We talked last week how there's an inlet and an outlet, meaning there was standing water, which makes this a very good place to search for microbial life. So they wanted to land as close to the inlet delta as possible in a very safe place, which they did right there. If they had landed way back further or the trajectory was off, it would be extra months of driving and extra wear and tear on the rover. This is cool. I don't know if you guys have seen these yet or not. We got the heat shield impact. Unfortunately, this time on Curiosity, it actually stayed in frame all the way down to the surface of Mars, and we saw the impact. It was awesome. On this time, we weren't able to see it, but the Mars reconnaissance, what is it called, Pat? MRO?
MRO, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter.
There you go. It spotted the heat shield impact and also the rover on the ground. And on the rover on the ground, you'll notice there's deformation or change in the soil on the top level in two different ways. You have a vector coming forward and vector coming backwards, and you also see it on the sides. The reason for that is there's rocket engines all around the sky crane, and as it comes down, it's using all of them. When it gets closer to the ground and it doesn't have to maneuver back and forth anymore, all it wants to do is bring it down gently and kick up as little dust as possible. The outside engines, which are the ones that fire this way, are the ones that fire only, and they power down the forward and backward facing ones to give it half the power, half the dust, and still be able to control the descent. So you can actually see that in that photograph, which I think is really cool. So these are some of the first photos that we saw coming back from Mars, besides the one with Bernie Sanders sitting in a chair. Or Marvin the Martian peeking in the hole. But on top, I really wish that, well, you guys, depending on your own curiosity, you can look for this image yourself. It is a massive photo. I'm talking about the top panoramic. It's obviously a stitched panoramic, but there's amazing detail that you can zoom in on there. I think the logo and the logo and the patch are really, really sexy and cool. Nice design. And there you see the tire over there in the lower corner. Pat, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but maybe you can give us a little teaser.
Yeah. So we're going to do some discussion of the various scientific instruments on the rover. Let's see. Sorry, got some other junk on my desktop. Okay, so this is a photo of the back end of the rover, obviously back in the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And this big, so when you look at this rover, it has a difference than the small twin rovers. In the small twins had solar panels, and they actually had quite a bit of problem with dust on the solar panels. And ultimately, when one of the rovers stopped transmitting, it wasn't getting enough power through the solar panels. And of course, it's further away from the sun than we are as well. So the solution is this great big thing hanging out of the back that's mostly white with some Kapton tape on it. This is a radiothermal generator, or an RTG. It contains 4.8 kilograms of plutonium oxide, and all the isotopes of plutonium are radioactive, and so they decay. And when they decay, they generate heat. And bundled up around, there's actually 8 fuel assemblies inside this module down the center of the tube, and it conducts heat out to a surface, and on that surface are several of these thermal generators, and they are essentially like a thermocouple, but they operate backwards. You put heat into them and they generate electricity. So this thing is capable of generating electricity for decades. The expected lifespan for this rover would be much longer than the small twin rovers. Now, Curiosity, our last rover, also used this kind of thermoelectric generator, but it was smaller. The amazing thing about Perseverance is that it is a large device. It's the size of a small car. And is just bristling with scientific instruments, and we'll discuss those week by week as we go through the review. So one other thing on this image here is the video that Topher just played. All of that video wasn't released until a couple 3 days after the landing, when we were watching the landing live, and the video, Topher's video that's out on YouTube, we were looking at some photos from the collision avoidance cameras, and here are 2 of them on the back end of the rover here. So we saw some photos from those right away, but the better video wasn't downloaded until later. And Topher, one interesting sideline is that when Curiosity landed, the images were given to the public real time as soon as they received them. And some clever people on YouTube put together videos and presentations before NASA got their presentation done. So there was a little puppy guarding of the data until JPL and NASA got their presentations made.
I guess if you're going to spend the money and do all the work, you want to have all the honors of releasing it out to the world. I understand.
Yes. So that's what I had for today. And
Nice.
So
Okay.
we're on to the Europeans.
Yeah, if you let me see here, you can stop sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see.
I'm going to pause this real quick. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to learning. Wait, hold on a second. All right, technical issues fixed. We're now looking at what we should look at without me in front of it. So as Pat was saying, this is a pretty complex, big unit. And As we go around our tour of the solar system, we're also going to go around our tour of the rover. We're going to pick out one of these pieces of instrumentation and tell a little bit more about it on a deep dive, but not all at once. Just we'll pick out the Sherlock or the Moxie, and we'll go through them one at a time as they start being used too. So, like for instance, when Ingenuity, the helicopter, starts flying, we'll go ahead and make sure people understand everything that's going into that. But right now, we have a check-in with Maxime from Belgium, and this is a video he actually sent in a few weeks ago when we had technical issues and we couldn't play it live. So we're playing it live now. And there we go.
Hi everyone, Maxime from Brussels here. I hope you're all doing great. So today for the Hangout, I wanted to share with you two meteorites I have right here. And those two meteorites have very nice shapes, and they are interesting because they show features that tells a lot about what happened during their respective falls. So the first one is that unclassified NWA, probably an ordinary chondrite. And the second one is a classical one, it's cyclotanine here. And this one is really interesting because it shows signs of shredding and bending that tells about the violence of the cyclotanine event. So I will show that to you more precisely right now. Okay guys, let's begin with the first meteorite, which is the ordinary chondrite. So as you can see, it has a very nice shape. It's very smooth, very glossy. It also has very nice ridges, like here. And actually, I don't know if we can say that this is an oriented specimen. It would be really great to have your opinion about that, guys, because this part here makes me think of a shield, but it doesn't have flow lines, and yeah, I think this is not an orientation feature, but this is mostly due to the odd shape of the meteorite. But in any case, this is a very nice specimen, I really like it, and actually it's very satisfying to have a look at it. But it's also very frustrating because you have the impression that there is something missing here, and the same here. And actually, this is the case, because as you can see, there is a secondary fusion crust right there and also there. And yeah, that tells us that there was some fragmentation that occurred at probably very high altitudes, meaning that there was still time for the stone here to melt and create a secondary fusion crust with no ablation. But yeah, it's a really interesting specimen, very nice. I really love it. Then let's move to the second one, which is the cyclotanine. So as you can see,
Pat, can I get your opinion on that one? To me, just I kind of think that it looks like it was a very oriented stone until it fragmented, and then
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Yeah, so orientation is not one of those things whether something is oriented or not oriented. There's actually a whole continuum in between. And so it's possible for a stone to maintain one orientation in the incandescent part of the flight all the way through, or part of the way through, or just a little bit of the way through. Like many of the Northwest Africa meteorites that we have in our collections, and many in my collections, the surface has been sandblasted by blowing sand out in the desert. And so the flow lines actually are abraded away fairly quickly. So the flow lines really are only going to be there if they're super deep or if the meteorite is very fresh.
Or protected.
I would say that this one is a partially oriented meteorite, in that that surface that he described as a shield shape, does look right, like a shield shape. But the rest of the meteorite doesn't, it doesn't show a clear rollover lip. It doesn't show a clear angular break between the shield front and the backside. We don't see those shallow regmaglyphs that we often see on the backside of very oriented meteorites. So I would say this one is partially oriented, but probably not enough to really call it an oriented meteorite.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
his discussion of the breaks in the surface are right on, in that those fractures occurred during the incandescent part of the flight, and so they will form some fusion crust, which he accurately called secondary fusion crust. But it's late enough in the flight that we don't see ablation from those fractured surfaces. So
that's awesome.
His description is right on, totally correct in my opinion.
Yeah, awesome. It's great to have validation. What he's saying is definitely accurate, and but he has a piece in his collection, and he wants to know if he can refer to it as oriented, if that's going to be pushing it, or if it has oriented features. I think it was a great explanation. So you can.
I
It's
really
not
love it.
one or the other. But yeah, that's definitely.
Then let's move to the second one, which is the cicotaline. So as you can see, it is also a very strange shape. It's a bit like a droplet here, or a bullet. It is very smooth too, very glossy. And yeah, I really like that kind of specimen for cicotaline. But for this one, I think the best part is that side here.
Oh, wow.
Because as you can see, it shows signs of bending and shredding, and that's really interesting because it shows the violence of the cicotaline event. And that's quite incredible to think that metal here was bended due to pressure and heat that were caused by velocity and friction. And that's really, really nice to see, and also impressive to see metal being bended like that. That's very nice.
And those shear marks are like.
So yeah, I really like this specimen too. It's very interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to show you today.
Hey, Pat, I had someone ask me about this. Wonder if it'll play. I had someone ask me about this, so you can chime in if I misspeak. But the difference in some cicotalins, you'll find some cicotalins like the very front of this one and the back of it, where it's all smooth and regmaglyphed. And then you see other pieces that we call shrapnel. It literally looks like shrapnel from a bomb. It shows violent ripping and tearing and sharp edges, and the discussion or the question was, are they different? They're the same meteorite. Why? And it's the same fall at the same exact time, witnessed fall. So why are they so different? And my understanding and my explanation, open for correction, of course, was during the incandescent flight, when it's hot enough and everything's melting and ablating away, and you're getting that smooth surface with the metal dripping back, producing flow lines. That's during its ablated flight, when you look up and actually can see it burning. Then there's also a point in time where it stops burning but continues in flight and still is colliding with the atmosphere. And at that time, if it happens to rip apart and break apart, it's not going to have the temperatures required to remelt it and to re-soften the edges. You're going to get that exploded shrapnel appearance and feel.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. So the cicotaline meteorite, just like Chelyabinsk, disrupted multiple times as it was coming into our atmosphere. And of course, these things are doing at least 25,000 miles an hour when they hit the top of our atmosphere. And the atmosphere, starts out being fairly low density up high, and it becomes greater and greater density as it gets lower into the atmosphere. And so the the light that we see is actually a plasma ball of super compressed air in front of the meteoroid, and that's the source of the heat. Sometimes people talk about friction, similar idea, but it's a plasma ball out in front. And because Socotoline disrupted multiple times, when it disrupts, it actually just literally rips the thing apart. The pressure on the front side is very high, pressure on the back side is very low, and that's when that exceeds the strength of the material and tension, then it rips into shreds. And so the ones that we have that are individuals that have all the surfaces melted over and blended and pretty and such, those are disruptions that happen fairly early in the atmospheric entry. And the ones that we have that are just look like bomb shrapnel disrupted very late after the incandescent phase of the flight. And so this one is a transition piece in that it broke off of the main mass and got a chance to roll over, or got a chance to smooth the surfaces because of that still being an incandescent flight and still seeing ablation. But then it disrupted again and pulled some pieces off of it late enough in the flight that there wasn't ablation going on there. And so we see a combination of the nice smooth surfaces and the ruptured shrapnel fragment sort of surface.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good example.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me see here.
So yeah, I really like this specimen too. It's very interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to show you today is something I received last week, which is not a meteorite, but it's related to a meteorite. So it's a piece of glass here. And this is not related to Chelyabinsk, but this is related to park forests. So this is a piece of the shattered glass from a Plymouth Breeze car, a 1997 Plymouth Breeze car, which was broken by the fall of the park forest meteorite. So that's quite interesting.
Hammer glass.
And actually I have a piece of park forest, but it's very small and I would like to get a larger one to make a nice display with that. But yeah, that's nice to have some memorabilia too.
Yeah, I collect hammer effects as well.
So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed all the videos I have prepared. And I really can't wait until tomorrow to have a look at the recording of the Hangout on YouTube and have your opinion about this meteorite and to know if you think it's oriented or not. We will see. But anyway, I wish you will have a great Hangout this week and see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you. That is amazing. And I think we gave you enough feedback on your potential oriented one. Let me do one thing real quick.
All right. Checking in with our buddy Marco now. Marco from Germany. And of course, he has some not only oriented meteorites, but some meteorite news for us.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing good and you have fun at the Hangout. Yeah, today I want to go back to my roots and I want to show you some nice oriented meteorites. Have fun, guys. Yeah, I'm going to start with this little cutie here. It's a little, only 11.85 gram oriented NWA. And
Why does it keep pausing?
Yeah, as you can see, it has a nice fresh crust with nice flow lines. And yeah, I would say the typical features, radial flow lines and the really great and nice view is definitely the backside of the piece. So come on, let's have a look on the backside. Yeah, here we go. We're now looking on the backside of the piece. And as you can see, it shows a nice frothy fusion crust and a very interesting rollover lip.
Mm-hmm.
That's gorgeous.
Yes, and so note the sharp angle from the side to where it meets the back. There's pretty much a 90-degree angle there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he changes his cube orientation for us too.
Yeah, he does it right.
Today's second piece is this 115 gram oriented NWA chondrite, and it is a really fresh piece. You can see the nice fresh crust, and also flow lines are visible.
And oriented regmaglis too.
Nice piece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also some regmaglis here. Yeah, and that's the backside of the piece. Also here you can see a very fresh crust with the bubbly appearance, and of course also rollover lipping.
Nice rollover lip.
And shallow regmaglis as well.
On this side of the piece.
So here we can see some nice flow lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that is a super classic shield shape.
Yeah. Look at the backside. As you were saying, the shallow depressions in here, negative pressure depression regmaglyphs with a pretty thick edge leading lip of crust all the way around it.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, last but not least, I want to show you this cutie here. It weighs 4,170 grams. It is a quite interesting piece because, of course, it is oriented. It is a little bit weathered, more weathered than maybe other stones, but it is quite interesting because you have that nice front side of the piece, and here on the back side, I'm going to stop this right now. You can see here, that's the initial backside of the piece. It shows a rollover lip and also frothy fusion crust. And if I turn the piece around, you can see here a fracture surface. So this is caused during the landing of the piece. But here we have a part with secondary fusion crust. So what is really clear is that this piece was a bigger stone and broke up during the atmospheric entry. And also, if I turn it around, you will see that the initial form of the piece was like this. It's now lying on the initial backside of it, and now you can clearly see here the part with the secondary fusion crust. And yeah, it's only a half of the whole stone. Nobody knows where the other half is, but very interesting. I love such stones that, yeah, tell a story. And this one definitely tells a story. Nice clips also here. Of course, it has weathering cracks. So this piece was lying many years in the desert. But nevertheless, I really love this piece.
Oh, there's conjules in the very front of it. Drippy in there.
Yeah, okay, guys. That's what I wanted to show today. I wish you a great hangout. Oh, one information. I don't know if you already heard it. Gadames, the Libyan Fall 2018, now is officially classified as Hamada Alhambra 346. Have a look in the map pool. I think that's a really cool thing that after all those years now this nice meteorite is official. Hamada Alhambra 346. Okay guys, I wish you a fantastic hangout, have fun and see you next week. Bye bye from Germany.
There it is. I'm going to pause it for a second. I'm a little bit crestfallen, if I could use that term, because I have a really nice piece of Gadames, and I'm going to still call it Gadames. As you can see, he has circled here that it's being traded under that name, so that's AKA. But this is what took the longest time, because we, meaning the community, wanted it listed as an official witnessed fall under the name Gadames. Unfortunately, there were no news reports, no valid reporting, no pictures, no documentation that could verify that it was on this day at this time in this place, versus 2 days earlier, 2 towns over, where there was also another one. So it was a little bit, it stinks that it doesn't have that name, but it does. It's great that after these years, it's finally official. I'm not going to say it as well as my friend did, but Hamada Alhambra 346. So that's what we're dealing with. And
of course, the Hamra Al Hamada 6 is or 363 is a dense collection area designator rather than a exact landing spot closest human settlement name.
Yeah, thank you. You'll find a lot of that. The like we say NWA and then a number, but there's also there's a few of them. But we're going to continue on our tour of the solar system, and every week we're doing a little stop. And this week we're stopping at Umbriel, which is a moon of Uranus. I'm not going to say Uranus, guys. I'm just not going to do it. So it's a moon of Uranus. When I was a kid, we had 9 planets. God dang it, we still have 9 planets, and one of them's not Uranus. So that's where we're stopping today. This is the art that inspired the visit. Explore the mysteries of the Black Moon. We're going to tell you why it's known as the Black Moon. Pat and I are going to work together on this one. So here's kind of like a representation of Uranus and some of its moons. This is the representation of Umbriel right here, not to scale. Some information that I was able to find about Umbriel is it's the darkest moon because it reflects such little light. It only reflects 16% of the light. So it's a very, very dark moon, which made it hard to study. It was discovered back in 1851, though, and then given its name based on an Alexander Pope, almost said Edgar Allan Pope, Alexander Pope's home. Now, there at the bottom, you see a comparison of Umbriel compared to Earth, and it's pea-sized. So it's let me see here. Its rotational period, this is the interesting thing right here. If you look at these two facts, its rotational period is 4.1444 days. Its rotational period is 4.111, meaning it's locked. It's not tidally locked, but it's gravitationally locked. Just like our Earth always faces the same side of the moon, of our moon, Umbriel always faces the same side to Uranus. So I thought that was pretty cool. The escape velocity is really insignificant compared to Earth. I don't have Earth's on here, but I did during the research, and it was a lot less than Earth. Now, one thing that's given them a hard time about studying it is it's not very luminescent. It doesn't reflect a whole lot of light, but they've noticed in some of these craters, and you'll see like there's a fresh crater here, another fresh crater here, and another one here. Those are probably the freshest ones on that we're seeing on this side. But they've noticed that around the rings of them that they're calling them fluorescent Cheerios, because the impact areas are far brighter than the surface. So it's obviously something is going on, and they believe it has something to do with Uranus's electromagnetic field interacting with the moon. Now, this is the one that really got me excited. Based on spectrograph estimates, they're saying that it is a lot of, oh, this isn't the one, it talks about it being made of water. Yeah, here it is, yeah. So it consists mainly of water ice, and they say that under the outer shell, there is a bunch of carbonaceous materials. So you see a moon that's getting impacted and there's carbonaceous materials. Do we have Umbriel meteorites yet? No, that's too deep into the surface. So unfortunately, we don't have any Umbriel class meteorites yet.
Yeah, so the information about Umbriel is surprisingly sparse, and not all of it agrees. I looked at several different sources, and the albedo, or the percentage of light that's reflected off the surface, is in my research only 10%, which is very, very dark.
Yeah.
Compared to 23% for Ariel, another one of the Uranian moons. I wasn't going to go anywhere near the talking about Uranus stuff. I was just going to call it the Uranian moon. I guess we already dropped that one. But there's especially one crater called Wunda up near the pole that shows some much lighter material around its edge as well. And in effect, in this photo that Topher has displayed, you can see that ring right at the north pole of the planet as we see the orientation. And the description that I found said that they thought that was subsurface material that had been exposed, and they also believe that most of the cratering happened in the early bombardment era in our solar system, where there was lots and lots of stray crap floating around, and there were meteorites falling on every body. And the other thing that's pretty amazing about Umbriel is we have very, very little close-up view of the thing. In fact, we don't even have a view of the entirety of the surface. We only have images that cover about 40% of the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of planetary science exploration, this is like ancient history. There was a Voyager 2 flyby in January of 1986.
Mm.
And because it was only a flyby, they were very limited to how much of the surface we could see. And so of the 40% that we have images of, only about half of those images, about 20% of the surface, do we really have high quality images for. So back to you, Tim.
I'm glad that you brought that up because, like I said, there was a little bit of miscommunication between Pat and I about who was going to handle this tonight. And that was one of the things that I'm sorry, I just blanked out for a second. Yeah, because when I was looking at a rotatable 3D sphere of Umbriel, and it's all cratered and torn to hell, and then you flip it over and it's glassy smooth, and I'm like, what? So I'm like, I didn't have time to research it fully, so I'm really glad you pointed that out because I was wondering. I know it's tidally. They use this term tidally locked satellite. Can it be tidally locked if there's not water?
Well, so the tides, are on Earth are the movement of water because we happen to have liquid water, and so I'm not sure. There's not a planetary scientist here, and I don't even see one on TV. I'm not sure there's a difference between tidally locked and gravitationally locked. But
I wouldn't use the word tidally locked for a dry moon.
Yeah, but anyhow, the important part is that the side that faces Uranus is constant, and so the rotational period is the same as Uranus's rotational.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting, cool fact that, we always think, or we always hear, the Earth is so special, it's so unique, there's nothing like it. Well, here's a moon and planetary system that acts just like Earth. It's tidally locked or gravitationally locked, whatever term we're going to be using.
So Topher, one of the things that kind of interesting is you mentioned, the tides and not having water, but the actual moon itself probably undergoes slight bulging, in that direction because it is tidally locked. We think of the tides in the ocean a lot of times, but it actually deforms the actual body itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get forces, and that's dependent on the mass of the planet. And we know that things near Jupiter, some of the Jupiter moons, get quite a bit of tugging and pulling and heating actually from that effect. And so that's one of the reasons we think there's liquid water under Europa. One other thing too, Tupper touched on it. The density of Umbriel has been calculated at 1.39 grams per cubic centimeter. So it would sink in a puddle of fresh water, but not all that fast. And that was described in the few references that I saw as that it was composed of rock and quite a bit of solid water ice, possibly other ices as well that are even less dense than water ice.
Yeah, you got a bunch of gases that can condense into ice and water. We hinted at this earlier that Mike had an oddity that he wanted us to help inspect with him. So this is looking inside that little hole/bug.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, wait till it goes in motion.
What the hell is that?
It's like a tiny little lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the crystal caves of Mexico?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like
Yeah.
for
Yeah, and those crystals in the cave in Mexico are gypsum, and gypsum is certainly a possibility for these crystals.
And that's what actually I was going to say. You know, if I had to think, I would think it's you know, it's gypsum or one of the sulfides. You know.
Yeah.
Of meteoric or terrestrial.
If it's gypsum, terrestrial.
Okay.
Yeah, so the photo of the slice that Mike showed, this vug or vesicle, or don't call it a bubble because I'll never hear the end of it on Is It a Meteor? So this is not an expanding gas bubble. This has some other etiology, but the fact that this meteorite is fairly weathered, and the fact that there's a dark circle around this void or vug, could be possible that it was something that weathered out of the meteorite from terrestrial weathering. There's no cracks that go into it, but that's possible, and then we could have seen some redeposition of material into that void as well. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. There's another possible explanation. I don't want to steal your thunder.
So yeah, we're wondering, you know, if it is non-terrestrial, and like Pat's saying, you know, then it's of original meteoritic origin. So you know, I'd be interested in if there are crystals in there, and I've reached out to a couple people to see if I can get some interest in it and get some qualified opinions, you know, from some of the PhDs out there.
So this is going through classification services right now.
So yeah, this is John Higgins's piece. It's provisional. It's in for classification. So I definitely want to reach out and see. I don't know what the type specimen contained in it, you know, but I'd be really interested to see what it turns out to contain, and then you know, specifically get a better feel for, you know, if the thought is that this is terrestrial secondary products, or if it's meteoritic in origin, and it was maybe something that contained. My thought would be maybe contains, you know, like a salt pocket. I know you get salts in like a couple of different meteorites. So it was a combination of water soluble salts and then insoluble crystal material in there. And what you end up with is when it got cut and then lapped, you know, all the halite or whatever other salts were in there came out, and you're left with just the insolubles inside that pocket.
That's cool.
I think that's the most cohesive explanation for it, and that the finding of halite crystals in meteorites has happened. And in fact, our own Edwin Thompson, ET, was involved in the first finding of halite crystals, and that's why some people cut with alcohol rather than with water as a lubricant. Now, caveat, if you're going to cut with alcohol, it can burn. It's very hard to see the flames. It can be ignited. You're cutting something with metallic iron in it. So you have to use extreme caution.
Is that an armored ring around the chondrule?
No, probably just a weathering ring, I would imagine. I'll give you my 2 cents, and again, I'm not a geochemist by any stretch, but based on the fact that it's a fresh cut, the crystal is there, it attaches firmly, and it grows in, and you have another growth here, and you have another growth way down here. It seems to connect and coat the entire thing. So I really have a hard time, and I don't see the top of it, but I don't see a crack going right to the outside and a lot of weathering in that crack. So my knee-jerk reaction is that's extraterrestrial crystals.
Yeah, I concur. I think the crystals, the easiest explanation, Occam's razor, is that they are part of the meteorite. The interesting question is, how did they get, how did you wind up with a hollow void in there? And I think the halite crystal is, again, back to Occam's razor, that's the one that requires the fewest wild assumptions.
You should ask John Higgins if he has the other side of it.
Yeah. The price just went up on that unclassified L6.
Yeah, an L6 for $5. An L6, by the way, is probably the world's most common meteorite. So there, I say this with meteorite hashtags. It's an ordinary. It's the most common. There's nothing special about it. But something like that, when you find in your slice, you're like, wait a second. We have a cosmic discovery. We just had a cosmic discovery over Scandinavia. Actually, it fell in Sweden just on November 7th. Wait, this is 2020. Should I say 2020? Oh yeah, 2020. Okay, all right. Wow. All right, too many numbers in my head. But this is awesome because it's a witnessed meteorite that fell, and they were actually able to go out and find it. And there's the in situ picture and also a removed picture. And here are the two gentle folk that found the main mass. All credit to them for photos. 30-pound meteorite is the main mass.
And look at that powdery black fusion crust in the last picture. Man, that was gorgeous.
Yeah. Let's go back to that one. Yeah, this up here.
Look at that.
Yeah, that is to be desired. Yeah, and you can see it right there. Yeah. And then they said that there was other pieces found, a bunch of other little shrapnel pieces that were found, and they're still collecting them. So hopefully there'll be some on the market. I know Andres Goodhart is probably going to be hunting that one down. And he wasn't able to send in a video this week, so we look forward to him sending a video in next week. But who in the group has heard about this Swedish meatball? Everyone?
Yeah, I have.
All right. Who has seen the meteorite fall? Anyone?
I saw one obscure little weird piece of video of it, but it's pretty short.
I aim to please here at Topher Spin Hangouts.
Nice.
Boom! All the way down to the ground, baby.
Nice.
That is what we want to see.
Big disruption there too.
Pieces. Boom. Give me some pieces. That I could literally watch that on a loop with a beer. I love that.
Boy, it just about the time it disrupts, just lit up the whole sky. You can see all the roofs and everything.
Yeah, when it's right about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's like another sun.
Yeah. Welcome to Tatooine. So there was also a witnessed fall in Canada. Now, I don't think we're going to be watching this entire video because you'll see why. There are a lot of doorbells. That's beautiful. 100 videos, and we're not going to watch them all. People have a lot of doorbells. I love the music too. Look at that.
Well, hooray for the Ring doorbell cameras.
Yeah, this is like a great commercial for Nest.
Edvard's in the hollow, the Mountain King.
They're going to be able to get really good orbital elements on this.
Oh man, I just demonetized this video, didn't I? Now that was
and the
cool.
Hall of Mountain King should be old enough to be public domain.
Okay.
Wow, that was really interesting.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I think I went past it. There it is. That showed definite fragmentation.
Yeah.
A lot of pieces of that.
That is a nice one.
Hopefully it didn't land in a lake.
Okay, so we get the idea.
Nice. Before we go to the next spot, could I show off a couple of meteorites over?
1 second here. I want to stop this. All right. Let me pause. All right. So, Pat, what do you want to show us, buddy?
Yeah. So we were talking about prices. So this is the one everybody's seen. 8333.2 gram. 18 kilograms, 8 kilograms, 18 pounds. That's going to get its end cut off here pretty soon. I finally got got the new saw blade and the parts to make the chuck bigger to be able to hang on to it. But we were talking about price per gram. This is you have to buy a lot of grams.
Yeah.
but this is a 25-30 cent a gram sort of meteorite, even a very interesting one. And it's going to be an ordinary chondrite of some sort. But even the rarer types of meteorites, this one is unclassified, but and it's from Matt Stream, and it has that's the XRF analysis, so we know just what elements are there and in what quantities. But this one is actually an oriented shape as well. So here's the front side and float around, and you can see the 90-degree corner all around the back.
Oh yeah.
And then on the back, if I can get the lighting right, we can see our shallow regmaglyphs there. And there's a rollover lip.
A blocky oriented one.
Yes. And so this one was in the $3-ish a gram range, because it's a carbonaceous, well, it's not classified yet, so it's not legally a carbonaceous meteorite, but we can interpret with pretty decent confidence from the XRF data that it's when it gets classified, it's going to be a CO3. And if you're careful on watching on eBay, this is from the same seller, and in fact I have XRF data for it as well, and it's a likely CO3 when it gets classified. But this one was actually a little less than $1 a gram. So so by watching things on eBay, now giant caveat emptor on eBay, you really want to make sure you know who the seller is. Early on, eBay was a very good and very easy place to buy meteorites, but now there's so many people selling fakes that you really want to make sure you know who the seller is. And there are a number of our known high quality, totally trustable dealers, and Matt Stream is one of those, and he does a lot of listing on eBay. So keep that in mind.
And I would add to that, because it's great. I would also add that if you don't know the buyer, if you don't know the seller, I mean, reach out to someone you do know, reach out to me. There's Facebook groups, but you also have to know your stuff, because just because I'm just going to pull this out of the air. Barrett Jackson Auto Auctions. They're the highest, or Christie's, or whatever, insert brand name here. Just because they are offering something, like they're off right now, Christie's is having an auction, and there happens to be, for some reason, some stupid money being thrown at it. Stuff that should go for $200 a gram is going for $1,000 to $2,000 a gram. It's absolutely ridiculous. So just because it's a reputable seller doesn't necessarily mean you should jump on it. There's a wide variety in pricing and markups. I'll leave it at that.
So Topper Marissa has one she wants to show.
Oh, sweet.
There we go.
Ooh, brecciation. Is that classified?
Yes.
Let me see here.
Okay, I unmuted myself.
Oh,
you guys can hear me.
Hey, Marissa.
Yes.
But yeah, being on my cell phone is so much easier to do this, and I can actually have a table and show you my meteorites myself.
That's sweet. We love having you.
I'm going to flip this around and show the backside.
Oh, wow. I changed my mind on what I think that is now based on this side. That looks very much like a Eucrite to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with this. It's my only end cut of a Eucrite.
That is nice. And who'd you get that from? Do you remember?
I got this from Susan Morrison.
Oh, yeah, she's right here in Arizona.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rainy Rocks is her place, and she has pretty decent stuff. And you know me, I try to go around and spread it around and buy from everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Susan, I've replaced her at several rock shows here in Arizona. People were asking, like, where's the meteorite lady? And like, they point to me, and I'm like, no. So, no, sorry, I'm not your meteorite lady. That's awesome. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to show off? I have a few items. All right.
Cool.
Oh. Here, let me highlight you, because I started recording this. There you go. You got your Gadimas, huh?
Yes.
Nice.
Or Ha 346, whatever it is. Nice. Awesome. I'm so glad you're able to share stuff with us.
Move that back a little bit. There we
Oh,
go.
look at it.
You see that metal con? Whoa.
Whoa.
Beautiful.
CAI?
Yep, that is why I bought this one. It had a couple of metal blebs.
That is fantastic.
Absolutely.
I will never cut mine. Mine is kind of oriented with scuff marks where it landed, so I'm never cutting. Oh, look at that. Turn that back a little bit. That's crazy.
The shape of the metal is beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've never seen feathery.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's great. I'll never see the inside of mine. I have to live
And
through
it's,
you, Marissa.
It went all the way to the backside too.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. I had to buy that one when I saw it because again, I got it from Susan, and she had broken up a giant slab, like live on Facebook Live, and it broke my heart to hear her break it. But then that piece that had the metal blebs, I said, "Oh no, that one's mine."
Yeah. Every once in a while, there's just a piece that speaks to you, and you see it, and you have to have it. And I do a lot of showing off, but of items, not showing off, but just show and tell. Sorry. So I'm actually going to skip doing any show and tell today. I want to, with one exception, I want to show one thing off, and then I'm going to kick it over to Chris Monk. Chris is a new fan, new viewer, new client, new space nerd. So we're going to kick it over to him after this, but I definitely want to show this off. And there's two things I have to show off. I apologize, but I have to show off both of these things. The first item is one that I meant to show off last week and got totally sidetracked and never showed it off. So my apologies to Juan Aviles at Jurassic Dream Fossils. He gave me this beautiful fossil set.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, let me get it out of the light. There we go. Everything is labeled. One item came off during shipping, so I'm going to have to glue that back in place. But everything is labeled. What a professional job.
Excellent.
And these are all from the Moroccan area. So these are all, like, these are not like Utah and Montana. These are all African samples.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Juan Aviles at Jurassic Dreams Fossils. I meant to show this off last week. We got sidetracked on all kinds of other cool stuff. And I really, really meant to show this off. I totally appreciate it, my brother. A really super awesome gift. So thank you. And I want to show off one other gift. And this is absolutely a pleasure of mine to show off.
Yes.
I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to stick it out there. It came with a personal letter from Carlton Moore. He wants to join us on these live, so I'm going to be sending him information that'll make it a lot easier for him to be able to join us.
Nice.
But in that personal letter, he describes how these are fusion crust samples of the Murchison meteorite that he used to study for organic materials.
Nice.
And I am humbled deeply that Carlton Moore knows who I am and cares enough to share a gift like this with me, knowing that I could never put a price tag on this. Carlton Moore is the founder of ASU's Science Center and the original ASU Center for Science for Meteorite Studies. So a huge, huge honor to be able to receive a gift from a man of that stature.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome if you can get him.
Yeah, I was blown away. He said, I told you last week that he called me and he said, expect something in the mail. And had no idea what to expect, but I was blown away. And there was also some other information in there for me as well. But thank you very much, Carlton. That was super special of you. Let's kick it over to Chris. And you're on mute.
Ah,
there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome to the show, bud.
Thank you. So today I just have one thing that I wanted to show. I know Campo del Cielo is not super rare, but this is a 1,020 gram Campo that has some very unique features.
Yeah.
A lot of regnum glyphs, and just has a really cool attitude.
Yes, absolutely.
None of them are ever the same. That's a nice little hook you got on that one too, man.
Yeah, when I saw this one, I was like, not only is that huge for my typical standards, but that little hook right there, and just, it looks almost like shrapnel, but on a much larger scale.
And that's kind of what, like a Campo di Cielo like that, that's kind of what people honestly think a meteorite looks like. Like, that's a sexy meteorite. You know what I mean? We showed other rocks and stuff, and some people were like, "Are you sure that's a meteorite? It looks like a fossilized turd." I'm like, no, it's a meteorite, you know? But you have something like that, and there's no doubt whatsoever. And that's literally what people envision a meteorite looking like. So thank you so much, Chris, for joining us and showing that. See, anyone can present a tour of the solar system, and anyone can join and share anything they want, sub-gram to a kilogram. We don't care whatsoever. So really appreciative. Let me pause for 1 second. All right. Oh, Cameron, you look so comfortable, dude. I don't know who's enjoying that more, you or the cat, dude. That's awesome. The cat's the cat is alive though, right? Seriously, is the cat alive? What's going on, Pat?
Yeah. Should we get a Chris Monk update? I'm sorry, not Chris Monk. A Sam Lopez update. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong.
If Sam has an update, we're glad to hear it. If not, we understand science takes time.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I haven't checked my email either, so I'm not even sure.
Well, everyone stay tuned. Well, everyone stay tuned.
I could always show
for future updates.
I was just waiting.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait for.
Sorry, I think.
Yeah, you're kind of lagging a little bit, but that's right. You and I will work together when you have information, and we'll put a video together. We'll do it top notch. Don't worry, Sam. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're at 2 hours, so we're cutting it short. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.